Oh, Rayne. Rayne's case. It's one of my demonic cases. So I got the phone. It's calling her now.
Hello?
Hey, is this Rayne?
Hey, yes, it is.
Lovely. Okay, I'm going to turn a recorder on real quick just in case I see anything and need to show you or anything comes in for me and I forget about it later. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. All right, so how are you doing? What's going on?
So much has happened. I'm not with Trevor anymore.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, it's for the best. It was a bad situation. He is now with a 20-year-old that he was cheating on me with, and he got her pregnant.
Oh my gosh. Is that the same stuff that I was picking up on that night? Or is this after?
I don't know. I think it was, a lot of this stuff was going on before. The girl that Sandy, my best friend, I believe there was something going on with them two. They stealing from.
You said they were stealing from you?
Not so much him, but she was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Rayne.
So he basically put me out on the street. Not basically, he did. He put me out on the street, and I was living in hills, and every 2 or 3 days, I was just praying that I could scrape up enough money to be able to stay another night wherever I was.
Yeah.
And that went on for a while. Then a friend of mine I've been friends with him for a very long time. He was going through a really bad breakup. He was married to a girl from Australia. And him and I always, he's a good shoulder, but he needed a shoulder too. And I don't know how I was a good shoulder because I was a mess. Not because I thought it was because my heart was broken because of Trevor, but I was just the betrayal, how could you do something, how could you, I'm not going through enough, it's almost, I got so sick with more people for me,
Say that one more time. You keep breaking up a little bit.
I said I got really sick of feeling sorry, feeling like poor me, but it was like, how much more can I take? Who does this to somebody that just basically witnessed her fiance commit suicide and is going,
I know.
It was just piling on.
I know.
Well, the guy that I'm living with now, we're together now, I just keep, jumping right in. But that's me. I can't not go with my feelings. I never could.
Mm-hmm.
I can't bury them. I can't act like I don't care. I can try, but it doesn't work.
Are you talking about your beloved?
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm with the guy now, Ivy, and things seem to be going okay. But I'm just so jaded now that I don't. Anything that goes okay, I'm wondering what's wrong with it, what's going on, and I haven't been alone too much. He's always here, but when I was in the hotel by myself, and last night he had to go to New Iberia, where Dave and I used to live. He had to go to pick up a lawnmower and bring some equipment up for a guy that he was working with. So I was here by myself, and the few times that I've been by myself, either at the hotels or here, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's like the overwhelming sense of fear and that something is trying to hurt me just doesn't stop.
Okay.
I don't see him anymore. But I haven't really had a chance to. Like I said, I'm not alone a lot. But last night I was, and if I got a total of 45 minutes sleep, that was a lot. And that was sleeping with every light in this damn house on.
So how much sleep do you think you're getting every night? I mean, do you have like an average, or is it just like power naps, basically?
Oh no, I sleep good at night. And I'll sleep good during the day too. Like,
yeah,
I'm good if usually if Ivy's here or whatever. But I still have those days where something's off, and he could tell something's off.
Well, you've also been through a major trauma, Rayne. Okay.
Absolutely. And he understands that to a point, but I'm just now understanding how bad it is. Mm-hmm. How things affect me that I never thought would affect me. Ivy loses things a lot.
He loses things?
Yes.
What do you mean?
All the time. I feel like 90% of his life he is looking for something. His keys, his wallet, a tool, or something. And when he looks for things very loudly. And I guess because after everything happened, I was kind of in hotels, or I was at Trevor's, and it was just us, and everything was so quiet. The noise. It's like the noise of him, like, digging through stuff just brings back that day. Brings back all the noise when Dave and I were fighting that morning. It's not like Ivy and I are fighting. It's not like that. But just the noise. It triggers me.
I was gonna say it's a trigger indeed.
And it's so crazy, and it doesn't make any sense. And it's so hard to explain to him that, that's why I shut myself in a bedroom for 2 days, because I don't know how to explain why why you digging through some kitchen drawers a little loud put me into a tailspin where I'm now having flashbacks again of that day. Yeah. And I can't make it stop. And the other day, I know it was Dave that did this. And Ivy doesn't, he said, I can't, he told me, he said, I can't say that I don't believe it. He said, but I can't say I do believe it because I have to see something to believe it.
Understandable.
And I get it. I totally get it. And I said, I'm too mentally exhausted to try to convince you otherwise.
Right.
So if you see it, you see it. If you don't, you don't. It is what it is. I said, I'm not even going to try to explain things. But his keys, we needed them. We needed to go to the storage, to my storage. And I was helping him look, and I was trying to keep myself calm because he was digging through stuff and making noise, and it was just, I don't know, triggering me again. Well, I know between the two of us, we passed this dresser, looked on this dresser, would have seen the keys on this dresser 20 times in the hour or so we were looking for the keys. He was in the back. He's got like his man cave in the backyard. He tore it upside down looking, because that was his only truck keys. We had, not only did he have to find them for that night, his daughter has brain cancer, and she had to go get her scans done the next day, so we had to find the keys. So I come back inside from checking on him in the shed to see if he found them, and the drawers were open, and he moved everything to that dresser of his. So I'm like, I don't like digging through people's stuff, but I'm like, let me see, because he's got some whatnots in here that looks like other than clothes. Well, I go to look in the drawer, and there's his keys on top of the dresser, plain as day, just sitting there. And I was like, well, wait, maybe when I went, because after I got out of the shed, the man cave in the back, I jumped in the shower, because it was hot outside. I jumped in the shower and came in here, like a quick 5-minute shower. So I was like, well, maybe he found them and, brought them in here and just didn't come. I would have thought he would have came and told me. So I go in the back. He's still tearing the shed up. I got the keys in my hand. He said, what happened? I said, they were on the dresser. I thought you found them. He said, no. And right away, right when I saw him, I had a feel like I felt Dave. And it was like, I don't know why he did it. I don't know if he's playing a joke. I don't know if he's making his presence known. But I know it was Dave that did that. I know it was.
Well, and has there been any other items that have basically vanished and, just suddenly come back in some way?
All the time. And I chalk it up to I'm losing my mind, because I can't.
No, you're not losing your mind. I would like to know specifics. I would like for you to take as many pictures as you can, because there's such a thing as apportation. And in a lot of diabolical hauntings that I've dealt with that are very high priority, extremely rare cases, apportation or materialization are exclusive to these types of hauntings in these cases. So, any details, any little thing, stop questioning yourself. I believe you, okay? And we can prove it. But I would need to know every detail. I need you to document things. I need you to take pictures and send them to me. I need to know if anything else is going on,
It's, like I said, I know it's still around, because I just have that feeling, that heavy feeling. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen it. And it was my friend Dana just walked in, and I'm looking for my dog. Okay, not my dog, my adopted dog now, I guess. It's almost like I wish. I don't wish I would see him, because but it's. I know he's there. I know something's there, because I feel it, and but I don't know why I haven't seen him.
Have you done any kind of seance, rituals, practices of any kind since I last spoke with you?
No, I didn't, because
Nothing with a necklace or pendulum either?
No. When you said nothing with a necklace. When you said necklace, I was just I was thinking, why did I think about a necklace? But I had to take my necklace off the other day, because I kept feeling I have 2 necklaces, a cross and a herringbone. And the last few weeks they kept getting tangled with each other, and I kept feeling like I was going to choke to death. I had to take one of them off, because it was just, the claustrophobic feeling was so bad. So I took one of them off, but I guess that's why that popped in my head.
So is there any sentimental value around the necklaces? Anything at all?
Mm-mm. No, I got them after Dave died. As a matter of fact, I bought them myself.
It was after he died. Well, I kept seeing necklaces, so I didn't know if maybe you had done something, or if it's a sign. I have no idea. I'm trying to figure everything out as it comes in. And there's something I want you to do for me.
Okay.
If you're comfortable and you're able to do this, and I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to listen and see if I see, hear, or feel, sense anything. Can you tell me the story of what happened when he did that night, when you saw him after that, and then what happened with the entity and what you saw? Are you comfortable?
Yeah. So, go back to that day when he actually shot up, right? Start there.
It was in September of 2020, right?
Yes. Okay. September 30th.
I was making sure I remembered that correctly. September 30th. Okay.
Yep. And actually, like I said, my friend just walked in. She is the one that I had to call when the cops came. I couldn't function and even tell them my birthday.
Very understandable.
She was on. Were you on FaceTime with me or?
No, she just
called. Okay.
It was like audio call or something like that.
Okay.
Through FaceTime.
All right. So that's where you want me to start from that morning?
I want you to tell me everything you remember.
Okay. All right. He woke me up that morning, telling me that I needed to call my doctor to get my Xanax filled. And I mean, I obviously, no one, I need to get them filled, and I didn't know why he was waking me up, and I was like, okay, I will. And he was being real adamant about it. Of course, we were going through losing the second house, through getting evicted because of him losing his job. Well, him losing his job through COVID, but the first house was a problem with the landlord, which was his friend. She wanted to come back, and it was a friend-to-friend lease, so we got kicked out of there. So this was the third house. I got kicked out of my house that I owned. It was a mobile home on rented land. I lost that house. So in the process that day of thinking things are going to be okay because of the moratorium on evictions. The guy, the landlord, was suddenly evicting us. We weren't late. Dave and him actually got kind of close, and Dave was a contractor also. He had his own little construction company and construction business, and he was going to build a all-around deck for the man on the house we were staying in. Then, so he felt comfortable enough to tell him. He said, "Hey, I might be a couple days late on the rent. Might be."
I was going to ask. So right before you said they got close, I heard friend, and then did you ever talk to him? Did he ever say anything to him before everything happened, aside from being late on the rent?
They talked about they had an issue with the washer and dryer, which he told Dave to go ahead and fix it himself. We have all that documented. We had a lawyer. Everything should have gone in our favor. Definitely should have gone in our favor, but his wife's mother was a sitting judge in Louisiana, and you've been to Louisiana enough to know how fucked up the politics are here.
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically we lost it. We lost before we even got there. There was nothing we could do, and I didn't know, but he had gotten a subpoena to go to court that morning. And that's why he was trying to get me up to get my nerve medicine filled, because he knew I was going to need it.
Yeah.
And he also, I didn't know, but I didn't know this at the time, but he swallowed a whole bunch of them himself before he shot himself. Which I didn't know that until I was standing by the cops. I'll get to that in a second. But I got up. I finally got up, and I was out, trying to wake up. And I'm asking him, like, what's going on? And he's trying to tell me about the subpoena. And I'm like, well, wait, I thought everything was going to be okay. And I start panicking. And he starts yelling at me, which was really out of character for him. He didn't do that a lot. He got in my face, and he beat the shit out of me. Never did that before. I woke up on the floor. The house was torn up, and I think it was, I can't remember if he went and got the medicine before that, or if he got the medicine after he beat me up. That's where things are foggy. But I do remember him telling me to after I got up to take my medicine and go take a nap. And I've been in an abusive relationship before, and I know the best thing to do is remove yourself from the situation. I wasn't scared of Dave, but I was, I knew that wasn't him. That was really out of character for him. But I just knew to give him his space, Yeah. So I laid down in our bedroom, and I thought was in the living room, and I fell asleep. And I figured he would too. I woke up a few times, and he was talking to me from the living room, which was maybe 6 foot from me. It was literally like across the hall, catty corner, where he was sitting on the couch up against the wall. The wall butted up against the hallway. And I wanted to get up so bad and go in there, because I could hear him just like, he's like, you need to leave me. I'm a piece of shit. And all I did was, we lost everything. I couldn't. And I said, you're not a piece of shit. And if you are a piece of shit, you're my piece of shit. And he's like, no, you need to leave. And I kept falling asleep, in and out, in and out. And I apparently fell asleep long enough for him to come in the bedroom and get the gun, which was my grandpa's gun, which was in a safe, along with my uncle's gun. Well, we were looking at him. We had to break into the safe because nobody could remember the code. And once we closed it, we couldn't break into it again. So my grandpa's gun stayed out, and I didn't even think the thing worked. It was so old, a gold-plated 38. And I would have never, we always had guns in the house. But he sold all of his guns and everything to try to save the house. To try to save the house before the house that we lost in Ponchatoula, where he killed himself. So at some point, I don't know when, he walked in the bedroom, and he had to walk past me to get that gun. So I must have been sleeping really well. I don't know how long I was sleeping. Like I said, I don't even remember if he went to go to the pharmacy before or after the fight. I do know he called 2 people during that time and said, he was trying to leave. And when he was trying to remove himself from the situation, because he said he put his hands on me. He couldn't believe he did that. And he tried to leave, and he had or 2 flats on his truck. It was just, the luck was just unbelievable. So it was like he was stuck. He called 2 people to please come get him, and they were both at work. And they said, they were coming up, and they both found it really odd for Dave to be calling and asking anybody for anything, because that's not Dave. So I didn't hear those phone calls. I don't know if he called them or if he texted them, but I didn't hear those phone calls. I found out about them after. And apparently I fell asleep after, he told me, one of the last things he said to me was, his ex-wife is for lack of a better word, excuse my French, but she's a raging cunt. And she basically just drug his name through the mud down here, aired all his dirty laundry out, and turned a lot of people against him. And he told me the last thing he said was, go join the Dave Bell's a piece of shit fan club down there. Tell everybody what I did. And I said, no. I said, I don't care. I said, I'm up here with you. I left those people down there because I don't need them. I need you. And I'm trying, I wanted to go in there so bad and sit with him, but something told me not to. And I fell asleep again, apparently, in the middle of our conversation. And I was woke up by a boom. And first thing I thought was he was messing with something, and Dave was redneck as they come, so I thought he was blowing some shit up in the living room or, doing something crazy, which I was like, damn it, because I kept my house really, just so, and I'm like, great, now he's going to start not caring about the house and tearing stuff up or whatever. So I was like, Dave, I said, what'd you do? I said, David Bell, what was that? No answer. And I got up, and that's when I walked in, and I saw the gun in his hand, and I saw the bullet hole in his head, and I started trying to give him CPR, called 911, and, yeah.
It's okay. I know. I remember the details from that with the dog and everything. I'm sorry.
So, and at some point, I don't know, I called Dana, who's here now, to tell her what was going on, because I had tried calling her husband earlier that day after it happened, because I said I was going to leave because he was trying to leave or whatever, and Dana's husband and I were really close, like brother and sister. I call him for anything, and I was trying to get in touch with him to come get me. I was scared to death to tell him come get me, because Dave just beat the hell out of me, because he's about 8 foot tall, and so is Dave, and I was like, great, they're going to go at it, and it's going to not be good. But I was just trying to, diffuse the situation. But when I called, I think he was in the shower or something. And I don't know how long of a time frame it was between that, but I ended up getting in touch with Dana after I found Dave. I think it was after I found Dave dead. And she, I guess, walked me through talking to the cops and everything, and I don't really remember. I don't remember. I know. I remember him taking the dog. I remember them having the guns drawn on me because I wouldn't get off of Dave and the dog because they were going to shoot the dog. And then I remember being carried down the stairs because they were putting Dave in the bag. And then I remember being dusted for gunpowder. And I just remember the lady that did it, and she was really, really nice. She was like out of all the people that day, like, she was one of the most caring people. Like, because some of the police were real, cut and dry. Some of them, there was not one of them had a dry eye. It was all these huge steroid, swole up, big old cops, and they were all crying like babies, because it was just a bad scene. And but there was one paramedic that if I ever see her, I'm gonna probably spend a night in prison, because I was trying to get to Dave. I just wanted to go hold him one more time. And she's like, "You can't come over. What do you want to come over here for? There's nothing but brains and everything on the floor." I said,
"Oh my God!"
Yeah, she's like, she was just so innocent, like just. And she just, the look on her face, and I was going after her. And I don't know how many cops grabbed me, but my knees just buckled. And that was it. They carried me downstairs, and the last thing I really remember from that part of the day is watching the coroner van pull off. I didn't see him putting them in because they made sure I didn't turn, to see any of that, but I did see him pull off. And it was that night or the night after, the first 2 or 3 nights run into each other. But it was either that night or the following night. It was after his weird, crazy, so-called brother showed up over there.
It had to be a couple of nights if he showed up. It was a couple of nights before he showed up over there.
Was it?
What did she say?
Dave, would you?
Okay, the first night. Okay, she's Dana's saying it wasn't the night that Dave died. It was like the night after. That which, like I said, all those days ran into each other.
I understand.
But I was sitting down there with his name was Josh, and I had when I say down there, the house was built on pylons, and we were on the river. And I was sitting downstairs, which was all an open area, like a big open air patio under the house, and it was all cemented in, and it was just kind of like an entertaining area, but it overlooked the Tangipahoa River. It was nice. I loved it. Well, I had one of my Alexa speakers down there, and I remember I couldn't listen to music. I couldn't listen to anything. Every song that came on reminded me of Dave, some kind of way. And I'm a big music person. Like, it just, it helps me. It zones me out. It gets me out of my own head. Well, I couldn't listen to anything. So I put on, like, this spa channel. But, like, music you hear, like, if you were getting a massage, like wind chimes and stuff like that. And that music was going on for probably a good hour or so while I was down there just kind of half-assed listening to his crazy friend talk all his nonsense. Well, all of a sudden, on Alexa, the volume goes up, because it was at just like a real comfortable background volume, and Amazing Grace starts playing with bagpipes. And I knew when I heard it what it was, because that was Dave with bagpipes. He had a big Irish background. I had a lot of Irish blood, Scottish, Irish. Loved bagpipes. And for any song to come on that station or whatever that I was listening to was odd, because it wasn't a song station. It was just a white noise station. And for Amazing Grace to come on, that was odd. And for Amazing Grace to be being played with bagpipes and for the volume to go up, that was odd. I'm looking around thinking somebody's messing with me. I'm thinking it's his crazy friend that's trying, to have me ride off into the sunset to Georgia with him and shit. I'm thinking it's something he was doing. But no, that's when I looked towards the river where Dave's work table was, where he always did all of his little tinkering with his little projects that he was doing. Mm-hmm. And that's when I saw it was like the water reflecting, but it was up on the patio. It was weird. But that's what kept catching my eye. I kept seeing it a few minutes even before the song came on, but I never thought, nothing was out of place for me at that point. Well, that's when I saw him. He just slowly appeared. And he had his Ariat boots on, his Wrangler jeans, his plaid Ariat shirt. It was tucked in. He had his belt on. He had his Tractor Supply hat on. And he looked at me with this shit-eating grin on his face, like he'd always had, because Dave was cocky as a mother. But that's what I loved about him. And he just gave me a look after the same look he would give somebody when he drops the mic at a bar or something, and he tells somebody something and he wins an argument, or he just had that smirk, yeah, I got this, the same look he would do after he said something to somebody and he'd walk off to the bathroom or something. That's the look he gave me, I got this, I'm good, haha. And he walked towards the house next door to us, and he just kind of disappeared. And the guy, Josh, was sitting, he's like, what are you looking at? And I'm like, you don't see him? And he was right there, and he just kept talking, and finally I told him, I said, shut up. I said, shut up. I just want to I want to look. He's okay. And he's like, you're crazy. And he ended up walking off. Thank God. Because I wanted to have my, my minute. And I felt at peace. I felt like he was okay because I was so worried. Like, I'm Catholic. I don't know. You know what Catholics are taught. When you so
it's not true. Though.
I know that now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just
and angels and spirits have confirmed this for me, and I've shared it with quite a few psychology doctors and even social workers and stuff like that who have asked. So it's true.
Well, and I believe that now, and it was either way, wherever he was going, he was okay in my mind at that moment, I thought. And it was like a peace that I never thought I'd feel at any moment in that time of my life. And I never felt that at peace ever in my life. But that it was so quick to go away because I sat down there and I waited and I begged and prayed because Amazing Grace continued to play this whole time. It was still on. It was, I don't know, when something like that happens, you don't know if it's 5 minutes or 5 hours.
Yeah, it's a very angelic, feeling and environment that you're describing. If he was there and you're feeling all these feelings, there were angels there.
Well, and that's like, there's no way to describe how much better I felt and how close, I felt like everything was going to be okay for just that split second. Mm-hmm. And I got greedy, I guess, and I wanted to see him again. Mm-hmm. So I sat there and I was like, please come back. And I was talking, and sure enough, I see the little glisten again. I'm like, here it comes. He's coming back. So I'm looking, and I'm like edge of my seat, sitting down waiting. And that's when where he would have started, I just saw black. It was like, it wasn't smoke. It wasn't, it was it was like that part of the scenery had a hole in it. And just this black hole turned into like this long, tall, black thing. And
was it like smoke, a mist, solid, translucent?
It started off to where it looked like it could have been like mist, but then it was just like a darkness right there, like a hole. But then it turned into what was obviously of like a form of something, because it had what I guess would have been legs and arms, but it was just like these long things.
Were they pointy?
Jagged is the way I would describe it, like all over. And it just looked like it kept getting taller. And then I felt it look at me, but I couldn't really see a face. But it was looking at me. I knew it was. And I was terrified. And it turned its head, or top of his body, or whatever it was, and it obviously looked to what would have been its right, my left, because it was facing me. And it looked, and I knew when it looked that way, it was looking for Dave. That's the way I felt. It was looking for Dave because it looked in that direction.
Yeah, or it saw angels over there and knew that it couldn't touch him. I've seen that happen a lot.
Well, it turned its head real slow looking that way. But when it turned its head back at me, it was so fast. And so, it was like it was almost like it grabbed me then. But it was still far away from me. And I knew right then, something told me to make my path. Because I was downstairs and I knew I had to get away that quick. It was like, my brain doesn't ever work that quick on a normal day. But I went into flight fight, survive mode, because I felt like I was about to die.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whatever this was about to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
And it just turned real fast and looked at me, and that I saw like a face. But I can't describe the face because it wasn't human. It was just like something was looking at me, and it wanted to hurt me. And it all of a sudden, I guess in that time I had gotten up and stood up, and I remember looking. I had to like make my way and turn and not fall, because I fall a lot. And make the corner and get up 2 flights of stairs to get into the house. And that's when it didn't like sprout wings or anything like that, but it just like flew at me. And right before it got to me, it split into 2, and that's when I felt something like it like knocked the wind out of me, and I kind of lost my balance, went back, but I ran, and I made it up the stairs, and I was hysterical, screaming and trying to tell the idiot upstairs what happened. He was telling me he was going to lock me up in a mental hospital. It was crazy. And when I went downstairs, the chair I was sitting in, there's cement pilings that held the house up, and there was a U-Haul parked, butted up against, where we were moving everything out of the house. And the chair that I was in, like, if I would have stayed in that chair flew back. I didn't push it. The chair flew back, and it was knocked over on the piling, and had, like, I guess the corner of it, and it was sideways, so it would, like, I would have hit the piling and knocked myself out, or it would have knocked me up against the cement. But that's where the chair was when I went back downstairs, which was probably about 5 or 6 foot behind me.
Okay.
And ever since then, that's when that's when I started seeing it, feeling it all the time. It just didn't stop. And that was the first house that I lived in that I've even ever been in, that I didn't feel. Any house that I go in, I either feel a heaviness or a lightness. But when I moved into that house, I didn't feel anything. And at the time, I was like, okay, I didn't think anything about it. I thought about it, but I didn't let it bother me, because at the time I didn't think it was going to be anything significant in my life. But I think that it had a lot to do with it. Like, and my mom flew down 2 weeks or a week or so before Dave killed. It was about a week and a half, 2 weeks before Dave killed himself. And my mom's also like me. She'll walk in a house and walk smooth out. She'll be like, I ain't going in there. And I get it. I've done that, But she said, Rayne, she said, what do you feel in this house? And I was like, nothing. And she's like, I know. She said, what you think about that? And I told her, I said, Ma, I don't know. I said, but I'm happy here. I think this is finally it. We're finally going to be settled. And then shit hit the fan, and all that went to hell within a matter of weeks. So I don't know if that had anything, the feeling of nothing being there had anything to do with it. But it wasn't, I was content there. It wasn't like, I finally felt like I could have made that my house. We were the first people to live there, but I know that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. That's, spirits don't go in houses, I don't think, just because they died there. They just end up places. But there was nothing there. we were the first people to live there, but obviously not the first people that have inhabited that property. So the fact that I didn't feel anything there was just weird, and I don't know if that had anything to do with the house. And I will say this, as far as I know, they've tried renting a house, tried selling the house, and I don't think they're having any luck. I don't know how many people's moved in and out, but it's always...
What's the address of the property? Do you know it?
Yeah, it's like three. I might be telling you this wrong, but it's 39781. Let me look at my phone. Waters Road.
I'll do some digging and see what I can find out about. Just typically too with demonic hauntings, what I've seen is it a lot of the times will affect a multitude of houses within an area, but also to history, certain kinds of practices, things like that. What I'm also looking for too is
I did say before I left that house, I said, Dave, if you're gonna stay in this house, I said, do me a favor. I said, make sure that this man never rents this house again. I said, whatever you got to do. That was mean. That was hateful. But that's how I felt.
Oh, because of everything that he did. Yeah.
The landlord, yeah. I had to go to court with I ended up having to go to, they didn't even subpoena me, but I was told I was going to be arrested if I didn't show up at court in Dave's spot, which that's totally illegal. And I had to bring the subpoena with me, and the only subpoena I had was the one that was in his lap when he shot himself, that had his brains and blood all over it. So that's what I had to. Now, thank God, my lawyer was mean enough to tell the judge, I'm not making her come in here. She's, I was still in shock.
It was the same week.
Yeah, it was that same. It was like 4 days later, something like that.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. I'm glad your lawyer did that. I would have done the same. Did anything ever vanish and reappear, go missing a lot when you were with him during that time in that house?
Not.
Does anything stand out? I just need anything from that time to see if there's any patterns.
Not that I can really think of. Dave was always looking for, he was always putting tools somewhere and not, remember what, huh?
That was him.
Yeah, that was him. That was just how he was. He didn't have a set place, he just had tools everywhere.
Maybe that's why I kept seeing that toolbox months ago.
Well, no, the toolbox, I never did get to tell you. The toolbox, you kept saying there was something sentimental in the toolbox, but it wasn't something sentimental in the toolbox. It was the toolbox itself. He bought me a white toolbox, for my crafts, and he was so proud of it. And it was, he was apologizing about the toolbox and saying the toolbox, something sentimental in the toolbox, and kept telling you that and telling you that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I think that was him proving to me that he was talking to you.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he was apologizing because he not only left my toolbox in his truck that broke down on the side of the road for 4 days,
but I keep seeing the truck.
He dented it up, and I was so mad about my toolbox. And I was like, hey, I said, you take care of my stuff, and how could you leave the toolbox on the side? Somebody's going to take it, and I was worried about it, because that toolbox was, and it's still, that, I made sure that it came with me. I have it. It's in my storage, and I'm actually I was supposed to go get it night before last. That's when we were looking for the keys. I was trying to go get the toolbox to bring over here.
Yeah.
And I was going to see if Ivy could get the dent out of it from Dave, it being in the back of the truck and slamming around and getting messed up. But that's why he kept about the toolbox. He was telling me, he was sorry that he that he left it on the side of the road and that he dented it up, because he told me he was sorry over and over for it, but he was telling me again, and that's what I think. That was him, like, if I had any doubt that he was talking to you, which I didn't, that was it right there.
Yeah.
Like,
it was pretty clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really sweet, too. I can see absolutely why he would show something like that,
Right. Because it's, because I'm a real sentimental person. Like, anything, that he gave me or whatever, anybody gives me, I keep everything. I keep everything like that, and I have, like, there's a story behind everything. But, and
that's beautiful.
Unfortunately, between losing 3 houses, in those 3 houses, I lost a lot of sentimental things. I lost, because there was never enough room to move from house to house, and it was always quick. We always had to move fast, because it was, something happened, and we had to go, and we never had the money to pay the rent somewhere else, get a U-Haul, stuff had to get left. We had to depend on them to take care of our stuff so we could go move it. Stuff disappeared. And then after Dave died, all these people showed up to quote-unquote help. And I'm left now with, I used to have 3 houses worth of stuff. I have a 10x10 storage unit and 1 room here of stuff left. And everybody that was helping me move was stealing from me.
My gosh.
Everything's gone. There's probably like one thing a day that I noticed was missing, or that just, and it's got me so, like, I literally, I maybe talked to 2 people. One of them sitting right here in front of me. Like, I used to be a real trusting person. I trusted people until they gave me a reason not to. Mm-hmm. Now I don't talk to anybody. I don't. The things that people did, and that they did to me, and like just turn their back. It was almost like they had to do the token Facebook prayer. You're in my prayer. If you need anything, they have to make that known. Hug me in public, but then after that, don't go by. Don't go. I was like shunned, like they were gonna catch suicide from me or something. I don't know.
Oh, Rayne, it's not you. It's just them. They're uncomfortable because they don't understand. They don't know how to react. It's not you at all.
Well, and I'm not the same person. I'm definitely not.
Of course.
I'm definitely different. About what?
About Trevor Senior?
Yeah. She, Dana was asking, because Trevor was telling Dana. I didn't know Trevor. I told Dana, but I know I told that because Trevor saw the black at the same time.
Yes, that's right. I was thinking about that earlier, and this was after he got you from the hotel and you moved in with him, right?
Right.
Now, was this in the closet that I kept picking up all these things about, and y'all had to leave the light on and all that? Where did he see it?
Well, the first time he saw it, we were moving my stuff out of, I had moved in briefly with a friend of mine in an apartment, which I kind of knew wasn't going to work, and it didn't. And he was there with me. She had gone and slept out. And I told her I was going to go spend the night there and pack up all my stuff, and he was going to stay with me. And it was in that house, in that apartment. I saw it, and I didn't say anything, but I felt it first. I looked, and it started at the closet, and it moved its way to the dresser, and I watched I watched it move, and I'm watching him and not saying anything, but I'm watching his head move the same direction, watching, and he's seeing everything I'm seeing. He's not saying nothing. Then finally, when it got solid enough to where it was like, okay, here I am, there's no mistaking.
Mm-hmm.
I turned and I looked at him. He's like, "You do see that, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And he described it to me to a T. And I saw that man scared to death. He started crying. It was just that scared me more. Like, I'm okay with thinking I'm crazy and seeing stuff, but I knew at that point what I was seeing was something serious and something real, because he saw it at the same time, and he described it to me. There was no lying to myself no more, and there was no explaining it away. I couldn't anymore. So, and like I said, I still feel something around. I haven't seen it, and that bothers me, because I don't know what, like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'm happy. I finally feel like, things might be okay for me. Things might be going in the right direction, and
I just don't want it to be lying dormant. What I need to know, and I need you to be honest, have you been praying like I told you? Have you been talking to angels? Have you been calling for angels? Even saying Archangel Michael. I've literally recorded his voice. Literally. Okay? I've known to have the most profound communication in the world for a reason. And he's real. And I'll send you the clip too if you ever want to hear his voice. But have you every day? You remember when I said you had to do it every day?
I do. Not to a specific angel, not specifically to the angels, but I do pray every day.
Okay. Every day, and say, please protect me. And if you have any animals, say my property, my cars. I cannot tell you. I've had demonic cases to where the entity writes on things that it's going to bust out their windows, and it does. Vehicles have been moved into the middle of the street. I've seen things that you would not believe, and one day I'll tell you about it. I just don't want you to get frightened.
Wait. The vehicles moved into the middle of the street.
Yes.
When before we moved to Ponchatoula, when we lived in New Iberia, we had the police. Remember that? The police were banging on our door at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Why?
They said somebody had reported somebody trying to steal our truck. Why they were trying to steal Dave's truck, I have no idea. It was a piece of crap. But it rolled, it was in the middle of the street. It just rolled into the middle of the street, 3 o'clock in the morning. We watched the camera, and we can't see anybody trying to get into it. Now, you can see this shadow, like somebody...
You have it? Do you still have that?
No.
Oh, gosh.
No, and we thought it was the cops.
You thought the cops moved the car? The truck?
We thought the cops did it on purpose.
So, what did you see on the camera? Tell me exactly what you saw.
We saw all of a sudden, like, the door opened, but there was nobody. Whoever opened the door to the truck would have had to have been, like, crouched down to open it. Mm-hmm. And then there was a shadow in the truck. And then the truck rolls into the street, and there's nobody. Nobody leaves it from it. Nobody runs off. The truck just is there. And then you see the cops pull up a little while after that.
Wow. So, have you had any weapons or doll heads or anything in your bed, appear in your bed, just random silverware, water, anything like that with him and all throughout this year as well? Has anything like that happened?
Not that sticks out, but so much stuff happens. nothing surprises me anymore. I could wake up with a severed doll head and a machete next to me, and I probably wouldn't flinch at this point.
Yeah, but if anything like that starts to happen, I need to know immediately. And I need you to understand every day, morning, night, middle of the day, as often as you can, you need to pray for protection from the divine and the angels. You have to ask for it, and you have to trust me. I will prove everything to you, and I will show you other cases. I will show you proof, everything. It's real. We have to do this, otherwise we don't have protection. And I have seen things get very, very bad. No matter what Wiccans, voodoo practitioners, shamans, Reiki masters, psychics, or some of the most renowned paranormal professionals in the field did. I mean, priests, the Vatican. I have seen things not work, and I've seen people get very badly physically hurt from these diabolical beings. And it's important. I'm going to have to head over soon, and what I'm going to do is just kind of do like a walkthrough around you and visit with you and see what I see, and communicate through the light, and just ask and get some clarification here, because I want to make sure that if you are feeling this peace, that it's because it's messing with you and it's a game.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That it's short lived, because every time I feel like something's going to be okay, the shit hits the fan.
Right, because it's trying to break you. That's what they do. That's always what they do.
Like things were going great. Like I said, Ivy and I have been knowing each other a long time, and we were both at like he was at a low point in his life. His wife like took off back to Australia and just never came back, and just stonewalled him. And he was basically just dying, like letting himself die. Wasn't eating. He was so depressed, and just so like, he was just a constant cry. Like, he couldn't talk without crying. It was just horrible. And
right.
He had helped me in hard times before, and I couldn't stand to see him like that, and he couldn't stand to see me like I was. And he always would go to Trevor's, and he'd ask me over and over, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you sure you're okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine. Why do you keep asking me this?" Mm-hmm. And he said it was like he knew something.
Like he was sensing something diabolical, or something like maybe a precognitive ability to where he felt something was going to happen before it did.
Well, he knew that everybody saw that Trevor was treating me like shit, and everybody saw it but me. I stayed in that room like a prisoner, basically.
I was concerned for you as well.
He was, wondering if things were okay with Trevor, and he always checked on me, and we ended up together. But last few days, we started fighting, and I know Ivy's got a temper. He's cocky, but that's what I originally liked about him, because I'm, typical woman. I'm attracted to cocky men. But it just, as soon as I feel anything good, I question it now, because I know how quick it gets taken away every time. And it's not that it just, that didn't go right. It explodes. It's like a shit show. It's not just like if something would happen between Ivy and I, we'd split up. It wouldn't just be we'd split up. It would be somebody's stuff's getting caught on fire. It's never just peaceful anymore. So I question everything good. Everything.
I know.
Like,
it's
I
understandable.
question anybody that's nice for me. Like, why are you here? What do you want? Because it never ends up being the way it looks. And like I said, I still feel that heaviness all the time. I try to get rid of it, but I don't know if the heaviness is that thing, because I don't see it anymore. That's what I don't know. And that's what's, at least I was scared to death when I'd see it. It was terrifying, but at least I knew why I felt that way.
I know, but you won't see them all the time. Even myself, I've come face to face with them, and I have photos of them, horns and all, like everything, textbook, what they look like, and I wouldn't see them all the time, and things would still continue, and children would be drug out of beds. Like, there were all sorts of things that would happen, and that's why it's important to document everything. Text me if you don't want to journal it. Just instantly tell me. Even if you think it's an experience that doesn't matter, every little thing will always matter to me. And it's because I've been doing this and living with this for so long, since I was born. So
Dana just something. Ivy doesn't, like I was saying, he doesn't necessarily believe or not believe, because he doesn't have anything to prove himself wrong or right as far as, spirits. Yeah. He doesn't.
Well, I don't know if he believes.
He told me he doesn't, but he's not saying it doesn't exist.
Right, he's open-minded.
But like Dana was saying, but he prays a lot. He does.
That's good.
He prays all the time, and Dana said maybe that's why I haven't seen it.
Yeah, that could be why he's being protected. Has he been blessed by anyone, anything, anyway?
Yeah, he was was. I'm Catholic, so I don't know what is it called. Like, born again.
He was baptized. I think he's Baptist or something.
He's Baptist, so he was
baptized.
And then his daughter was baptized. Yeah, because his daughter was baptized in the same church. Because his daughter has brain cancer. She's in remission right now, but she just made 18. But it was bad. She almost died.
Poor baby.
But so he spent a lot of the last few years at St. Jude with her.
Yeah.
And devoting everything to her. And
maybe that's why you're a little bit more safe when you're around him. I've seen that happen too, to where if a diabolical entity is specifically targeting someone, they don't usually mess with other people around them unless they're forced to, and they're, you're at early stages. You're not, I'm not going to get into the really severe details because I really don't want you to become frightened or panicked or concerned or have lingering details in your mind at night and mornings. But, another thing I need to ask you too, did you ever go get blessed?
No, I didn't, but, so Trevor's aunt that raised him, since I grew up, like I was telling you, I grew up with their family. Like, they took me in years and years and years ago when, my dad's wife came into the picture, and I was in and out of my dad's house from like the age of 12. And, she always calls it the prayer line. And it's basically like worldwide, everybody's praying for you, and she gets these prayer cloths, and she gets this oil. And I always felt weird with people like praying on me. Like, I don't know what you're praying. You're not don't be putting your hands on me. So I don't let just anybody pray on me. I don't know what you're praying on. And like I said, I'm Catholic, so it's everything. When you're Catholic and went to Catholic school, I was raised that all other religions are just crazy. I don't believe that anymore. I don't necessarily believe that anymore, but I don't let anybody just put hands on me and say they're going to pray on me, because I got trust issues now. Well, she always did, and I always felt better. I don't know, if it worked or whatever, but she was always calling the prayer line and getting me the prayer cloths and So I do have two prayer cloths, and I do have oil. Anytime I feel like that overwhelming something is in here and it's bad, I always get the oil out. I'll put it on myself, and I'll go and I'll try to put it like by the doors. Now I had a cross in a frame, and this is one thing that it did kind of like, I didn't ask him a bunch of questions, but it did like stick with me. He was adamant on putting that cross over the door of the bedroom. And it's a little cross in a frame, and he like, it bothered him until he put it up.
Okay.
And he put it up, and I said, wait. I said, take it down. And I got my prayer oil out, and I said, make the sign. I put the sign of the cross. I said a little prayer. He did the same thing. I don't know what he said. He don't know what I said. And we put it up. But, like, I think about him putting that up a lot. I don't know if it means anything. I don't know if it's, I don't know. I don't know if Ivy did see something, he ain't going to tell me. Or feel something, he's not going to tell me. Because that's just not Ivy.
Well,
So,
you never know. I've seen so many things. Have you ever... Oh, I wish I could just be there with you now. I'd show you so much. One of these days I need to come out, and we just need to do a session, a blessing, things like that. Just kind of work through all of this, and I want to make sure that you're safe. Because you have to understand, even if...
I definitely don't. I know there's still something in...
That's what I'm saying, but even if something is banished from a person's soul or their property, they do still watch. They are still out there. They never truly leave. And, that's another reason why I record when somebody retells a story, because even, for example, you ever heard of the case, A Haunting in Connecticut?
I heard of it.
She retold her story 30 years later, 20 years later, something like that. Many, many, many years later, after the children were grown and the cancer was beat and all that. In the middle of telling the story, a crucifix fell off of the wall, and I think it fell onto one of the camera people who were filming her telling the story. And I've had my own clients too, to where they retell me the story, something flies across the room, or if I'm on a screen with them, I will literally see something behind them, and I'll be recording, and they get to see what I saw. There's a lot of there's a lot of things that can happen. So, doing the blessings, talking about these things, learning patterns, paying attention to things that you wouldn't normally pay attention to, documenting every tiny little thing to every big thing, it's important.
Well, I wanted to tell you this too, and I don't know if I told you. I don't think I told you. When I was still staying at Boomtown, the first hotel after Trevor threw me out, I was downstairs outside smoking a cigarette, and with my judgmental self, this girl pulls up, and I was like, well, there's a hooker. I thought it was a hooker.
Okay.
I did.
Oh, Lord.
But then all of a sudden, I saw her talking to this lady, and I was like, well, maybe she went to a party or something. But I just kept staring at this girl, and I saw her and the lady behind in the trunk, like they held hands, and I could tell they were praying. Well, instead of, I felt like so bad for like saying, look at this hooker, because I was just being ugly, because I was angry, because I was freaking staying in a hotel again. So when she passed me, I stopped her and I said, I love you. I felt like I had to like cancel out the ugliness that I thought.
Yeah, what you put out in the world, all of that.
So I told her, I said, I love your dress. Because even though it was a little, it was a cute dress. Okay, so I liked the dress. And she's like, thank you so much. And she was like, I needed that. We started talking, and she said, she looked at me, she said, you got a tall man standing next to you. She said, you have the gift, don't you? I said, what? And she starts talking to me, and she said, don't think I'm crazy. She said, but she said, I can connect with the other side. And I said, okay. And she said, I can see around you. She said, you have she said, you got a lot of stuff going on right now. And this girl just starts spitting out stuff, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. And she just started telling me a lot of the things, like, in a different way, but a lot of the stuff you told me. She told me something. She said, she starts talking about the end of days are coming.
Oh, that's something I've been getting messages about.
She told me, and she told me she said, you're going to be one of the last people around. And I was like, great.
Well,
she said, you are. She said, because you're going to need you. She said, you are here to be it was a black girl.
oh, beautiful.
And she was, they have a different way of, like, speaking religious and spiritual terms and stuff. But she said that, I was put here to be a spiritual warrior. That's the way she described it. She said, you're going to be one of the she said, you're not going to be here trying. She said, you're going to survive because you're going to be trying to save the people who are still here from people who aren't here anymore. I'm like, so you telling me I'm going to be fighting ghosts? Is that what you're telling me? And she's like, and she's laughed. She said, all right, girl. She said, let me put it to you this way. She said, you ever watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
I love that show.
I said, no, I never watched it. She said, well, you know what it was about? I said, I'm assuming she slayed some vampires. She said, well, she said that shit. I said, I didn't sign up for that. And
we never do. Let me tell you that right now.
But she said it's like, it's just some people are open to it, some people aren't. And I said, I didn't ask for it. And I told her, I started telling her a little bit about Dave. But before I told her anything about Dave, she told me there was a big tall man standing next to me. I'm looking around, what are you talking about? And then that's, after she talked to me,
well, this confirms, first of all, everything that I was picking up and telling you about your abilities when we were on the phone for 4 hours, but it also confirms before that when I did a session with the angels, sent them over there, and they talked about Trevor's deceased friend, but also they said they brought him, and he said he was haunting you and that he loved you, and there was all that stuff that he said. And remember, I was like, I don't think he crossed over into the light. But even if they cross over into the light, they can still come back. They're still allowed to visit us.
He definitely hasn't crossed. He's still.
He's haunting you. He's staying with you. But my thing is I don't want, if there is something diabolical that is following you, stalking you, whatever intentions it may have, they're never going to be good. If he's, I don't know. Because I've have hundreds of thousands of spirits that I recorded during seance that said thousands and thousands of times that they're running from demons. And I'm like, and then you will hear them say, stay by Amelia's angels. And I'm like, some of them would come from miles away, and they said, we could see your light. We could see the angels and the Christ within your light. We can see them. Please pray for us. Cross us over. We're ready to go. We're ready to repent. Literally all over this entire country.
Right.
And if he's staying next to you, you probably have all these angels around you, right? And he's staying safe.
And after hearing and seeing the video, and the thing that got me the most is whenever they whenever you could see on the video, remember when something banged real loud in the closet?
Yes.
And I turned around and looked, but then I went right back to focusing on talking to you because you told me, don't get scared, things might happen, whatever. Right at that time in the video, that's whenever the angels were saying, the demon's coming, the demon's coming, the demon's coming.
At the exact same time that you felt him. I'll never forget that.
And if something banged and something slammed in that closet. And I looked, and it scared the hell out of me.
Yep.
And
you know what's crazy too, is that they kept talking. I think they said something about the lamp, or it was something that belonged to him. They confirmed all of it.
It was the lamp that Trevor, it was right next to Dave's ashes.
And that's another thing too. I'm wondering also, I don't want to change the subject here, but do you remember when I kept telling you, I'm like, I keep seeing a young woman and a baby, and I don't know if it's connected to Trevor. What if, remember, you and I both were trying to figure that out because he got upset and he left. And I don't know if you ever told him about that part, because I know that he was, getting a little aggressive with you later on over the course of the next few days and all of that, especially towards me.
She did have a baby. He suddenly was gone for 3 days, and next thing I know, he's bringing this girl to the doctor with a baby, and the baby was sick. I'm like, since when did you become the ambulance driver? Who is this girl?
Wow.
And now she's pregnant and with another baby. So yeah, that was the baby, because I think he was cheating on me the whole time.
Well, you could do so much better.
Well,
obviously you have.
I did tell when I started fussing and all that. We fuss, but then we'll joke about it. I said, you know what? I said, I'm calling Amelia. I said, because we keep missing each other. I said, but I'm fine. You probably the devil himself. I said, that's it. I said, this is she's gonna tell me, get out of that house, because you that's him. That's him.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just didn't like it. I didn't like any of it.
No, that's about what Ivy. No, Trevor was definitely. Trevor was thrown off, and Trevor was hateful, and that.
Well, a very common thing, and I think I told you this, but when there's a real demon, okay, whether it be a fallen angel or what the angels literally call a black devil, and I've seen them, they're very different beings, they will actually cause men in a household to become violent, even if they never were before. There's actually been murders from demonic activity that have even, there's even some world famous cases of people I've spoken to who literally every person they would rent their house out to, every man would become aggressive, just beat the shit out of a woman, never did it before, and then it actually ultimately led to one of the last renters they had being murdered. Like the man murdered the woman after he beat her, and there was a lot. And so, when you were telling me about
Dave beat me up that day, and then I'm shooting it. That was not Dave. It was
right. I mean, he really loved you. And then but after that, the pattern, you see Trevor, when you were telling me that he was getting very aggressive, he would get a certain look on his face, things that were out of character for him, and his aggression towards getting you any help. That was one of the first things I noticed. And just you having to fight so hard to just try to get one answer. Even if I agreed. I said I wouldn't come there. I said I wouldn't go there. You didn't have to do all these other things. I literally gave you whatever tools you would accept to see what would happen from that point on. Because it's all up to you. It's all your choice. And I hated that he was fighting against you on a lot of it. And he would come around. I'm not discrediting. But it would just turn right back around. You know, he would switch back to the aggressive side.
Oh yeah, the mental abuse was he's sick.
Yeah.
He's sick.
You don't deserve
and,
that.
And like Ivy is one of the most good-hearted people I know.
Oh,
but
clearly.
He also flips. When he flips, he flips. But so do I. When you've been through enough crap and you hold it in and you can only be nice for so long, yeah, certain things set you off.
Yeah, but, I agree with that.
But whereas before, things wouldn't bother me. Now I'm super sensitive to stuff. If he starts looking for stuff and he's digging through like just noises, anything loud, now I'm traumatized, and I cannot stand the way I am now, because I was never a type of person to back down from anything. I always stood up for myself. I was strong. I was like, I got this.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I'm tired. For New Year's and 4th of July, I felt like I was in a war zone. I knew it was fireworks. I know it was damn fireworks. But every time I heard one, not the ones that kept going off back, but like a single shot firework, I'd have flashbacks of Fond and Dave. And it would just replay in my head over and over. And I was getting so angry at the people shooting fireworks, which is so stupid. It's 4th of July. It's New Year. People are going to shoot fireworks. I can't be mad at everybody in the world. But I was angry. I shut myself in a room. It's just the person that all this has made me, I can't stand. I can't stand that I'm such a ninny, that I get scared of noises. I was here by myself for the first time last night, and like I said, I got no sleep. I was like, I've never been scared in this house.
But what you're going through is absolutely natural. You need to stop being so hard on yourself. I'm just going to be completely direct here, because you are way too hard on yourself every time I talk to you. You need to allow yourself to experience these things, because you're evolving. You're going through some of the most horrific things, but this is what literally makes history, what changes people to share and help others. You know, you'll be able to do that if you ever wanted to.
And that's what we talked about. That's what I wanted to do. I had started doing like a blog where
well, you should do that, but you have to understand yourself and quit blocking. You're always criticizing. Ever since I met you, you have been so unbelievable. You would apologize for crying, for Christ's sakes.
Well,
I mean,
a big. You're gonna come back, okay? All right. Well, yeah.
Why don't I let you go so you can spend some time with her, and we can continue this, later tomorrow. That way, because I would love to talk to you some more.
Yeah, and I'm gonna when I get my brain settled, I'm gonna write down anything else that I can think of.
Okay.
And I'm gonna text it to you tonight.
Okay.
Because I got a feeling Ivy's gonna be late again. I'm gonna be here till well into the night, scared again.
You can call me anytime. I don't care if it's 2, 3, 4 in the morning. I'm up at all hours anyway. So anytime, and I'll have my phone. I always have my phone on me. Unless I'm with a client, I will always pick up. So you can call me if anything happens. And if you feel something, turn your recorder on your phone if you have one. Yeah.
I do, but I probably would send it to you before I listen to it, because I don't want to hear.
Yeah, you don't need to do any of the hard stuff. But I'm saying, in case it shows itself, or if there's an orb that you can't see with your naked eye, anything. If you feel the presence of something there, good or bad, turn it on and just put it somewhere and sit in the room, and just pray, because usually praying, more stuff will happen. But at least that you have a 99% chance of being completely safe and protected. So, okay.
All right. Well, I will do that tonight, and yeah, I'm looking forward. I want to do another. Whenever you're up for, I want to do another
Session.
session with you to see kind of what's going on with Dave. If
We will.
I got his ashes here in the living room. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I don't know what to do. I don't. I just his motorcycle. There's a lot of things. I want to see what he's got to say to me.
We'll do that. We absolutely will, and we can definitely make sure there's a hedge of angels completely surrounding. That way he can come through loud and clear, like I've done in the past. But there's no guarantees. But if he's still there, which I feel like he is, he'll have something to say. I've never been with a client and them not say something. So, all right.
Okay.
All right, beautiful. I'm always here 100%. Any hour of the day or night, just call me, okay? And then we'll talk about your session soon.
Oh, well, thank you so much, and I'm gonna start writing stuff down again because it's getting, like I said, I tried to ignore it for a long, but it's getting bad again. So.
Well, you have me now, and angels and God, so don't worry.
Well, thank you so much, and I will keep in touch this time. I promise. I don't have little Trevor with his little demon baby next to him.
Oh, Lordy.
But I
Oh.
will definitely keep in touch with you.
All right, beautiful. Well, y'all have a lovely evening, and, just call or text if anything happens. All right?
I will. You have a good night too.
All right, beautiful. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.